Jarren Duran has a huge series as the Boston Red Sox sweep the Oakland A's and hit the road for Anaheim.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and currently the host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed for free. And honestly, who doesn't love free? It really is a great thing. So might as well take advantage of it and check out Locked On Red Sox, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network. And that is here for you with your team every day. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. Welcome to another episode of Locked On Red Sox and happy Thursday. And it truly is a happy one indeed as the Red Sox came off of a big sweep of the Oakland A's. Now, yes, I get it. It's just the A's and they are not a good baseball team. But the fact of the matter is last year's Red Sox team doesn't sweep that series. Last year's Red Sox team blows it in the bottom of the ninth inning with Kenley Jansen out there and giving us a scare. Last year's Red Sox team gives up a lot more runs throughout the series than they did in the entirety of these three games. That shows me that the Red Sox are an improved team from last year in a variety of different ways. Their approach is different. There's a lot of guys out there who are resilient and really truly want to win and want to prove people wrong. And now the Red Sox sit at 5-2 and we sit and wait for them to face the Angels next, as they do have an off day today, a very well-deserved off day, by the way, that they totally earned. And one player to thank for all of this over the last few days is Jarren Duran. What a big series he had. I mean, starting with the game on Monday night, which was just an absolutely atrocious game for Oakland. They made a ton of fielding errors, and the Red Sox capitalized on every single one of those and won the game 9-0. And Jarren Duran went 3 for 5 in that game with 1 RBI. He scored 2 runs in the game, and he broke a record in the first game of the series for stealing his 5th base over 5 games. It's truly unbelievable how fast that kid really is. So it was a fun night for him. And then he added on again to that in Tuesday night's 5-4 extra innings win, which, by the way, was an absolutely insane game for the Red Sox. Alex Cora was just playing chess. He used every single person off the bench, and it got to the point by the 11th inning where the pitcher would have had to hit. And I was sitting there saying, wow, it'd be kind of cool to see Josh Winkowski hit. But then Cedar Rafaela made what was just the most phenomenal catch, the play of the game that saved it, and the Red Sox went on to win 5-4. I thought they were going to blow the game in the bottom of the 11th there, and my heart started pounding. But then Rafaela came in clutch, made the big play that the Red Sox needed him to make. So that was super fun. Just a very fun game, and one that played with my emotions a lot and just reminded me that baseball season is truly back. And Jarren Duran had another big game in that game. He went 2 for 3 in that game and scored a run and recorded an RBI as well and stole another base. So after that game, he was at 6 stolen bases in 6 games. I mean, what this kid is doing is pretty phenomenal. And just his overall athleticism, what he's doing at the plate, he's making contact nearly every at-bat. And even if it's just a single, for him, a single basically you can count as a double for the most part, because he can either turn a single into a double if he hits it deep enough, or he can turn around and then steal second pretty immediately after hitting that single. So if Jarren Duran is singling in a game, that's a biggest fear for an opposing pitcher, or at least it should be their biggest fear, is getting him on base at all, because he will steal. It's almost a guaranteed thing at this point. He's just so fast. And then the Red Sox on Wednesday afternoon won a tight 1-0 game with the 1 run being scored on a sacrifice fly by Emmanuel Valdez. Yeah, I mean, it was a really stressful game, and honestly, Kenley Jansen did not make it any easier in the 9th inning. He did not make it easy in the 9th inning on Tuesday night either, though. And the way I've been describing Kenley Jansen lately is that he's been an absolute roller coaster. Every single time he's on the mound, he's going to stress you out, but he manages to find a way to get the job done no matter what. I mean, I kind of commend the guy for keeping people on their toes and being like, JK, I'm still here. I'm going to finish the job, but I'm going to make it a little fun in the process. I mean, man, this guy stresses me out every single time he's out there, but he managed to get it done once again in the bottom of the 9th inning on Wednesday. One thing that wasn't promising was that the Red Sox grounded into so many double plays in that game, and that was getting to be incredibly frustrating. Devers grounded into a double play. Reese McGuire grounded into one. Tristan Casas grounded into one. So that was definitely frustrating, but Jarren Duran was not frustrating. He went 4 for 4 in the game. He singled in 4 at-bats. It was truly remarkable. He didn't steal a base in this game, but he did single in all of his at-bats, and that's very telling for the type of player he is and how far he's come over the last year, because he had a phenomenal season last year, and I only expect him to continue to grow. So currently he has a .292 batting average now over 24 at-bats, 7 hits with 4 runs scored and 2 RBIs and 6 stolen bases, a .393 on base percentage and a .292 slugging. He also has an OPS of .685. The kid is getting himself on base, and he is the fuel that the Red Sox need in the offense right now. Between him and Reese McGuire, I mean, Reese didn't have a great game on Wednesday, but he did have a good game earlier on in the series. He's been stringing together some nice at-bats recently. He went 1 for 4 on Monday night in the big 9-0 game, and then in Tuesday's 5-4 extra inning win. He wasn't supposed to be playing. Connor Wong was doing the catching that day, but he came in and took 1 at bat and got 1 hit. And then on Wednesday's 1-0 win, he went 0 for 3. So he didn't have a good game then. However, he's been putting together some good at-bats lately, and that could be huge for this team too, and that's definitely something to keep an eye on moving forward, is what's the catching situation going to look like? Because we know that there's somebody named Kyle Teal who's hanging in the rafters in the minor leagues, ready to come up at some point and showcase his stuff, and likely will turn into that #1 catcher when he does come up. So what's going to happen for Connor Wong or Reese McGuire? One of them is going to go. And so now they're kind of in a competition with each other over which one of them are they going to remove from this roster when Teal does come up. And obviously Teal has a lot of hype around him. There's no 100% guarantee that he's going to come up and be the guy that the Red Sox are hoping for him to be. There's always a risk with prospects. You really never know at all. But if he's able to live up to that hype, I mean, these two catchers are definitely in for a tough rude awakening potentially when that time does come. So I'm keeping an eye on Reese and I'm keeping an eye on Wong. Which one is producing more? And at this current moment, Reese is producing more offensively. And Connor Wong definitely can get it going. He had a good spring. I feel confident that he can ease himself back into the offense that he was showcasing during spring training, and he might just need more time to get back into that. But that's another interesting storyline to look out for. But overall, Jarren Duran, the athleticism, the speed, his ability to cover a lot of ground in the outfield means he'll make for a very good defender moving forward at Fenway because he can chase down balls. We saw it a lot last year. We've already seen it this year. Those hard hit deep balls, he's chasing down and he's catching and he's making the play and he's getting the ball in quickly. So he's able to do that with his versatile skill set, and he's able to have a good read on the ball at the plate so that he can slide one through. He beats it out on infield singles too. He did hit a weaker infield single in Wednesday's game, and the third baseman could not play the ball, so he ended up being safe at first. So he's able to do a ton, and his speed is certainly going to put him in a great position to succeed moving forward. So I'm interested in seeing more of him and how he continues to grow throughout his career, because the Red Sox definitely got a special player in him, and I hope he continues to capitalize on that and continues to stay confident in the player he is. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about a pitcher who did struggle in Oakland and seems to maybe be allergic to the Oakland Coliseum. Who knows? That's coming up next. Are you ever looking for somebody to help with your car? I know for me, I don't know really much about cars at all, so I rely on eBay Motors so much. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. It's so worth it, I promise you. eBay Motors will have you covered whenever you're lost at all when it comes to your car. And you know who else will have you covered is Gametime. If you're ever in a pinch and looking for last-minute tickets to anything, Gametime is the place for you. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. For a limited time, all users can get $20 off any MLB purchase of $150 or more in the Gametime app with code FIRSTPITCH. Terms apply. That's code FIRSTPITCH for $20 off from March 25th to April 14th only. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. It really does guarantee you the lowest prices. I've used it to buy tickets last minute before for concerts and games, and it really will reassure you that you are getting good seats with a good view for the right price. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channel's app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. It really is here for you 24/7, and it will keep you updated on everything going on in sports. So subscribe to Locked On Sports today. Is Brayan Bello allergic to the Oakland Coliseum? That's a question a lot of people are wondering, as he was the one pitcher who struggled a bit more than the others in the series versus Oakland. I mean, on Wednesday, Nick Pivetta came in and absolutely shoved, giving up 0 runs in a 1-0 Red Sox win. He also struck out 3 and gave up 1 walk over 5 innings pitched, but he did go through 5, and the Red Sox goal as a staff has been to get everybody through at least 5 innings. So he did just that. He did have a little bit of command problems in that 5th inning, but he was able to get out of a bases loaded jam by getting a double play ball, and he got out of all base traffic in his start. So can't really fault him He did what he was supposed to do. But Brayan Bello, on the other hand, did struggle in the Red Sox extra inning 5-4 win on Tuesday night against Oakland. He pitched 5 innings and gave up 5 hits and 4 earned runs, 1 walk, and struck out 6. He overall looked decent, but the problem was he made 2 mistakes. He gave up 2 2-run home runs, and he was visibly frustrated after both because he knew that he missed his spot. He does have to work on his slider because he has a problem with the location of it, and if he misses that spot, anybody can hammer that. Any professional baseball player can rip a slider if it's located where they want it to be located. The pitchers, if they miss their spot, they're done for. And that slider is a pitch that still gives Bello some trouble. He's so close to being on an elite tier of Major League Baseball pitchers. He just needs to work on that pitch. And I don't have a problem with him mixing it in and using it in his repertoire. I just want him to maybe start to use it a little bit more when there isn't traffic on the bases until he's more confident with using that pitch. Because worst case, he gives up a solo home run with that pitch if he's still working on it and working out the kinks with it. And then it's only 1 run that he's given up as opposed to 2. Because this game looks a lot different if he gives up 2 runs, a solo home run each time with that pitch, than the fact that there was a base runner both times and he gave up 2, and now he's given up 4 earned runs and it's no longer a quality start. So the numbers are deceiving. His ERA is now up to a 5.40 because of that start. He overall looked good. The rest of the game, he was pitching well. He looked in control. That's just what happens when you make a couple mistakes. And for some reason, this has happened with Bello before. In his last start in Oakland, which was in July of last year, he surrendered 6 runs, including 3 home runs over 4 innings pitched. And that A's team was historically bad last year. So it was very uncharacteristic of him. Granted, it was a daytime start when he had that outing last year. For some reason, he struggled with the daytime starts last year. Presumably, it was something having to do with his pregame routine, maybe not being able to be as long because it was a daytime start as when he pitches at night. So that's something I'm interested in seeing a little bit more of from him this year, is when he does make daytime starts, is he able to pitch more effectively? So I'm ready for his first daytime start, but I might regret saying that later on. I'm hoping that Andrew Bailey has worked through something with him so that he can better prepare for daytime games, because I truly feel like that's the biggest source of the issue with his daytime starts. So overall, last year, that Oakland start, I just added to the mix of bad daytime starts for Bello. And I just said, okay, he struggles during the day. It is what it is. Hopefully he can figure something out and improve his performances during the day. So that's what I had been hoping for. And then he goes into this start on Tuesday, nighttime game, starts at 6:40 in Oakland. So still light outside. So maybe that was part of the issue, because it could be a sunlight thing instead of a daytime thing, speculation. But then obviously as the game progressed, it got darker and darker. So he struggled again in Oakland. And maybe it's just something about the Coliseum and he doesn't like pitching there. And something about that environment makes him uncomfortable or makes him rattled, and he just doesn't feel as confident there, because you could even tell in his body language during that game too that he wasn't conducting himself in the same manner as he did in the Red Sox season debut. He didn't look as confident, and I truly feel like environment is a big part of that, and something about pitching in Oakland obviously isn't for him. And that's something he's going to need to figure out real quick if he wants to step up into that ace caliber tier eventually. I mean, unless the A's end up moving, of course. But the thing with Brayan Bello now is he's like 1 tier down from being at that super elite level. It's like when you picture a ladder and you picture somebody at the top of the ladder because they've made it all the way up there after a struggle and a long climb to the top to try to fix something that's on the roof or something like that. And then you have the person who's in the middle of the ladder and is slowly working their way up, but hasn't quite gotten to that top level yet where that person at the top is at. And that's where I picture Bello being right now is he's working his way up that ladder relatively gradually. At the beginning, when he first was signed by the Red Sox, he worked his way up quickly through the minor league system. And now that he's in the majors and he's continuing to develop, he's at that point where he's taking strides forward, but you can still see the weaknesses in him. And their weaknesses definitely don't outweigh the good by any means at all. He has so many good qualities where you can see that stardom and you can see the path for him. He just needs to work out a couple things. And I can't wait until that day when he puts everything together. Because when he puts it all together, he will be a star. I'm so confident in that. I like the way that overall he's aware of when he should be pitching certain pitches. I think Andrew Bailey's been good with him and utilizing his better pitches more. I just think he's like so close to being at that level of being in the elite conversation. And it's exciting for him for sure. I'm hoping that this was just an Oakland thing and he's just allergic to that place and he got that start out of the way early on in the season so that he can move on from this and grow and just focus on the next start, and just now that he's getting out of Oakland, just not have to pitch there ever again this year, which is nice. So I'm hoping that he can think about all that when he goes into his next start and bounce back from it. But I have high hopes for Bello. I think he overall looked very good. And don't read too much into the 4 earned runs given up. If somebody didn't watch the game and they just looked at the box score, they would see that he gave up 4 earned runs and would think it was a bad start. But at the end of the day, it was 2 mistakes. Overall, he did look good. So you can take that as a promising sign that there's just a couple things he needs to figure out. And once everything clicks, look out, league. He has the means to be a very special pitcher one day. So definitely a little weird, his Oakland struggles, but maybe it's an environment thing. I wouldn't blame him. I mean, the Oakland Coliseum is not exactly the most fun place to play, and it can't be easy pitching with only 2,000 people there. So there are definitely outside circumstances that helped lead to that. But overall, I still believe in Bello. I still think he has a ton of talent and he has the capability of eventually being a star caliber pitcher. So I'm excited to see what path he continues to go down and end up on as he progresses through the season, because there's definitely a ton of potential there. Coming up, I'm going to be talking about a player who is proving my theory a little bit correct that I talked about the other day. So that's coming up next. Are you looking for a fun way to play daily fantasy sports? If so, you should head to PrizePicks today. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It's the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like Meek Mill and Sugar Sean O'Malley? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 fantasy sports app. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's a first deposit match up to $100 if you use the code LOCKEDONMLB. If you're looking for a great way to make money and just a fun way to play daily fantasy sports, PrizePicks absolutely is the place for you. Locked On Sports Today also is the place for you, as we have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. It's very exciting for Locked On. We are the only network that has a 24/7 sports streaming channel. So if you're trying to stay caught up in all things going on in sports, Locked On Sports Today is the place for you. On yesterday's show, I talked about Trevor Story being moved out of the 3-hole in the lineup, it's definitely hard to comprehend why Alex Cora keeps wanting to put him in the 3-hole. The 3-hole is such a very important role in this lineup, and it oftentimes is the best overall hitter on the team that's dedicated to that spot. And that hitter is not Trevor Story right now. That hitter is Rafael Devers overall. And lately, it's been guys like Jarren Duran who have been the most consistent hitters for Boston. So Trevor Story batting in the 3-hole has proven to be ineffective. And my theory about moving him down a little bit might be valid because take a look at these 3 games against Oakland. Game 1, where the Red Sox lost 9-0 on Monday, Trevor Story batted third, and he went 1 for 4 with an RBI double, so that was awesome. Came in clutch, huge for the team, but that was it. That was his one hit of the day. Went 1 for 4 then. Then in the extra innings win on Tuesday when the Red Sox won 5-4, they then moved him down to 4th in the lineup. Duran was leadoff, which he has been hitting leadoff, and I love that for him. They moved Tyler O'Neill into 2nd, which was another thing I had talked about them possibly doing, with Devers batting 3rd and Story batting 4th. And sure enough, Story goes 3 for 5 on the day. Big 3-hit day for Trevor Story with 2 RBIs. He did strike out the other 2 times, so that, again, is an issue with the swinging and misses. He's still striking out quite a bit, but he went 3 for 5, and that's a big confidence booster for somebody like him who was going into the season so determined to show Red Sox Nation the type of hitter he truly can be and the guy that the Red Sox signed, the guy that they're hoping he can turn into. He wants to get back to that, and I definitely saw a glimpse of that on Tuesday night when he had that 3-hit night and he looked so happy and he was confident. And difference was he was batting 4th, not 3rd. And then the Red Sox go back and win 1-0 on Wednesday. And what do? Move Story back to 3rd in the lineup. And I said, okay, maybe he needed to bat 4th, catch some momentum, and then we can see how he does when he goes back into being 3rd in the lineup. 0 for 3 on Wednesday, and the Red Sox 1-0 win against Oakland. He struck out 1 time. He did take a walk too, but 0 for 3 on the day, not very promising. And it's tough to watch that because Trevor used to be so reliable when he was in Colorado. And then he just has not caught a break since being in Boston. Finally gets his first offseason with the team this year. And then is now going into the season with all this pressure of hitting higher up in the lineup. I still think he should be even further down than 4th. But look what happened as soon as they pulled him from that 3-hole and moved him down. He had a fantastic game that night. And I'm just wondering if Alex Cora sees the value in him batting 3rd because of the fact that he trusts him over some other players still, or if it's more because he's trying to get that confidence up now. Because I'm looking at guys like Casas who hadn't been hitting that well to start the season, but has been finding his swing a little bit more over the last couple games. Why don't you try moving him ahead of Story too and see how that goes, because now he's starting to catch fire there. I'd say definitely keep Yoshida towards the bottom of the lineup because he's still very much struggling. And then you have guys like Rafaela. I mean, he's being a lot more productive at the plate right now overall than Story too. And by the way, Rafaela, absolute star in the making, made the play of the game on Tuesday night, also made another great play defensively on Wednesday. His speed is going to benefit him a lot because he can carry a lot of parts of the field and just cover everywhere in the outfield. He's fun to watch. I'm really looking forward to seeing his development. But I can name a few guys that the Red Sox could pull off putting ahead of Story and having him bat 5th or 6th. Because right now, you want to put those best guys at the top of the lineup. And let's just face it, Trevor Story is not hitting like one of the best players on the team right now. And yes, it's unfortunate, but it's something that needs to happen until he can get back into the groove of where he needs to be. And I'm hoping that Alex Cora starts to come to that conclusion that maybe it's not the right time for him to be batting third. But I do have to give Story credit for his defense, though. Notice how clean the Red Sox infield defense has been overall in his presence, especially compared to last year when the Red Sox had one of the worst infield defenses in baseball. Now Story's back. When he came back in the last couple months of the season last year, he cleaned up the Red Sox infield defense significantly. His arm looks very healthy. He's making some great plays at shortstop, and the Red Sox look like a cohesive unit in the infield a lot more now. He did make an error in Wednesday's game. The Red Sox did have a couple sloppy plays defensively late in that game, and he just made a bad throw to first on a play. But overall, he's been very good this year defensively. So he definitely deserves credit for that. But we just can't overall say the same about his offense yet. And I'm hoping he figures it out. And I'm hoping he's not wishy-washy to the point where he has 3 hits one game and then goes 0 for 3 the next day all season long. We definitely need to see more consistency from him in that manner. Having an off day today is well deserved for everybody on this team. But I think somebody like Story especially could benefit from that because he definitely needs to figure out a way to get back into the zone, and it might not happen until the Red Sox are back from this road trip. By the way, we're almost done with the road trip. Just one more series against the Angels and then home for the Red Sox home opener next Tuesday. So exciting. Hopefully they can win their first game at Fenway too. But the day off will be beneficial for everybody. Hopefully Story can figure out a way to find success at the plate because, quite frankly, I just don't like when they continue to insist on him hitting third. And when he batted fourth on Tuesday, it was a different version of Story. So I swear there's something mentally about that situation and them moving him back in the order that's working wonders for him. So just wanted to point that out, that theory might be correct now that we've seen a couple games of him being in different spots in the lineup. So we'll see what Alex Cora decides to do moving forward, if he keeps him there, if he has him move down a little bit in the order. But either way, I just hope he can figure it out because a big season from him offensively would be a game changer for this Red Sox team. As always, like I say, keep the faith. Pretty easy to keep the faith right now with the Red Sox coming off of a sweep. Hopefully they can do the same against the Angels or at least win the series. That's what we strive to do here, is win as many series as possible. So keep the faith. Go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.